Today I'd like to talk about the huge difference my daily practice plan has made over the years. In the last progress video on this channel we compared young me from 2007 to current me or old me in 2020. This time I'd like to go through the last 4 years and show you the enormous difference with my playing. This is not all about me, of course. I'd actually like to motivate you to work with a similar practice approach. Although I'm far from satisfied or done, I think I serve as the perfect proof that consistency does pay off. This is how I sounded like in 2017. And this is some of the stuff I can do now in 2021. Make sure to stay until the end of this video to find out more about the exact practice routine that made all of this possible. Before we check that out in detail, it's very important to focus on what actually changed and why these improvements matter so much. Let's do this. So one of the greatest benefits of doing YouTube now for a couple of years is that I have plenty of footage of me over the years to criticize. Uploading and working on these videos definitely also pushed my progress aside from all the practice sessions. Okay, so let's begin with the first clip from 2017. Okay, I think that's enough. So this was an improvised take from a guitar workshop that I did on tour with an Austrian pop band. Quick side note, I remember having a huge hangover that day, and quitting alcohol in 2019 definitely also made a big difference. So the main thing I don't like about this video is that I was working with patterns that don't really sync up with the backing track. You can get away with a little creative freedom when it comes to note values here and there, playing laid back for example, or consciously playing against the band's rhythm. But in this clip I would describe it as laziness and not really feeling comfortable with improvising yet. So aside from that, let's talk about my technique failures as well before we move to the next clip. Yeah, that run is a great example. So first of all, you can see that I was playing with an open hand approach back then, and that caused a lot of unwanted noise because my fingers were constantly touching all the different strings. And for the really fast stuff that I was trying to pull off back then, I essentially used my entire arm to pick like that. So I definitely felt like I lacked control when it comes to feeling and hearing the individual notes, since I was just moving my arm as fast as possible when I was playing fast. So to quickly summarize all that, my hands weren't really connected back then. I didn't really work on hand synchronization exercises that much. And most of the time I also really wasn't playing exact note values like 16th notes or triplets. I was just going as fast as possible. I would call this phase figuring things out. I was well aware that there's much left to learn for me back then, but I already made some significant breakthroughs with my technique and music theory skills that I wanted to share at guitar workshops. I mainly just lacked control, discipline and freedom when it comes to my skills. I actually shared all of the exercises that pushed me to the next level and out of this phase here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to this channel right now so you don't miss these very important workouts from now on. Nothing has changed since then. Whenever I make a significant breakthrough, I'm sharing it with you guys and girls on here. Around 70% of you are still not a real part of this guitar community yet, and your skills will definitely benefit when you join us today. Let's jump to 2018 right now. This is when I got more serious about developing my technique skills further. Okay, I think you know where this is going. Let's stop the video right here. So as you can see, I started to push for higher tempos at that point, but I still had quite a lot of problems with my technique, both with my right hand and with my left hand technique. I was playing more on the grid and in time right here, but nothing actually changed about my picking technique problems. So the picking motion was still really big and quite exhausting. I remember falling into bed after this recording session for half an hour because I was really physically exhausted. And my back, my shoulders and my entire arm was kind of hurting, and that's not a good sign. It's also a bit tough to hear if all the alternate picking strokes that I was playing really align with the notes that I'm playing with my left hand because of the muddy sound I was using back then. I think around 260 or 270 beats per minute I was just pushing as hard as possible, and I remember not really feeling the pulse and groove of the backing track anymore. I was just tensing up and really pushing hard. But we already talked a lot about my right hand technique now. Let's focus on the left hand. Okay, that's enough. I think I just found another good example frame we can discuss in detail. So I definitely didn't figure out the most effective left hand position yet back then. I was using an angle like that to play. My wrist was moving around a lot. And of course, the familiar topic, my pinky finger was always flying around like that. One of the biggest problems I can see in retrospect is that my fingers were hitting the strings at a very flat angle like that. So I didn't have that nice curl back then that makes it possible to play clean and fast legato lines. So my hammer-ons and pull-offs were really bad back then. The position of my thumb back then also was quite random and a bit different every time because I just didn't feel comfortable and I didn't really know what I was doing. So to make a long story short, there still were a lot of issues back then that I didn't really know the solutions to. And I was so focused on developing my picking technique and pushing the speed that I completely neglected my left hand, which is a vital part of all that. That was my absolute biggest roadblock, stepping stone and practice mistake in the last couple of years, so please make sure to avoid that. Let's jump to 2019 right now. This is when I started uploading more frequently on YouTube. Okay, so that sounds better already. My picking hand already looks much more effective and I'm getting a much cleaner signal. So that's the point where I didn't generate that much unwanted noise with my fast motion anymore. My tone also significantly improved since I got the Kemper amplifier, which is really important. Not just to sound better for you guys and girls watching my YouTube videos, also for me, because I realized how much I have to clean up my playing as soon as I started working with more transparent sounds. As you might have experienced yourself already, a highly distorted and muddy sound can hide a lot of mistakes and inconsistencies with your playing. So I didn't figure out the perfect way of holding my pick back then, but I made significant improvements with my right hand. But enough kind words about the 2019 version of me. The left hand is still a huge problem zone. I picked this video because you can clearly see how much I was struggling with controlling my pinky finger. Closely focus on my left hand when we check out the faster take now. So yeah, it almost looks like I don't have any bones in my pinky finger right here and it's just flopping around like that. And although my faster playing already sounded much better back then, I still didn't feel completely in control of my left hand yet, especially my pinky finger. As you can probably imagine, with a technique like that, it was quite hard for me to get clean hammer-ons and pull-offs, for example, because I was constantly touching all the surrounding strings. And I also just couldn't master that nice economy of motion with my left hand that most experienced fast guitar players have. But the great news is that I discovered and created exercises that helped me with solving all of these problems. Let's check out some of the most important ones before we jump to 2020. Remember that you can download the tabs, Gitter profiles, video play-alongs and backing tracks for all of these really important exercises on patreon.com/Bernd. This is also the place where you can get some direct feedback and input on your own technique in case you're feeling stuck right now. We have over 2,000 amazing members in the Shred Guitar community over there already, and of course I'd also love to welcome you to the inner circle today. Now let's check out what I was up to last year. Okay, that's not too bad, I would say. So this was a huge jump in my personal progress curve. I started getting up at 4:30 a.m. 6 days a week to practice guitar with more loose practice sessions on Sundays. I just got back from a vacation in Colombia back then where I had a lot of time to think about my personal goals and about the huge opportunity I have here on YouTube to build a career that is for once not tied to a different act or a band where I'm just a hired gun. So I had a goal in mind, a real vision, and I just wanted to get much better. So this video is from summer 2020. And you can see a lot of improvements with both of my hands in that one. I mainly just got a lot more control and clarity out of my shredding. One of the only things that I still had issues with when it comes to technique was that my right hand fingers were scraping against the strings, especially when I was playing really fast. So that's the reason why I was using a fret wrap in that video. I still use it from time to time, but I don't have to rely on it anymore because I discovered something very important recently. So with this frame you can see that I was holding my pick like that and that my right hand fingers were scraping against the strings above the one that I was playing on. And you can try that out right now. When you rub your hands a bit against your strings, you will hear some unwanted noise, of course. Of course, I didn't slowly grind away my flesh as I was playing fast. I was just grazing the strings lightly, but it still was a problem. So one thing that massively helped me with getting that under control is switching my pick grip from that to that. So it doesn't really look like a big change. Before that, I was holding the pick like that, as you can see in the image. There you can also see that kind of big hole with my right hand. And now I'm holding the pick like that. You can try this out at home easily. I showed it to you once already. You can just position your hand like that and put your thumb right here. That feels very natural, especially compared to doing that. It kind of feels weird. So that kind of feels like the right way of doing it already, and you don't even have a pick in your hand yet. And then you just place your pick right here. And that's pretty much the grip that I'm using right now compared to the one that I was using in this video. And this kind of grip and playing also made it much easier for me to lift my right hand fingers like that when I was playing fast, so that they are not touching the strings anymore, and that sounds much better. So as promised, to finish today's video, I'd like to share my personal practice routine with you. I still get up at 4:30 to practice. Sometimes I have to do my emails first when my girlfriend is still sleeping. This kind of shredding isn't the best way to be woken up, and I don't want her to kill me at some point. These morning sessions have turned into a real habit for me, and I honestly can't imagine starting my day in any other way. I choose to work on 4 to 5 topics for 15 to 20 minutes each every day, and I practice to a metronome. Those topics are currently alternate picking, sweep picking, legato, so hammer-ons and pull-offs, chord theory, scale theory, and improvisation at the end. I also posted the exact workouts that I'm practicing right now on patreon.com/Bernd in case you would like to learn more about that. I frequently make sure to change these blocks and exercises so that I cover as many topics as possible and to keep it fresh and interesting, and this system honestly changed everything for me. So structured practice routines like that will bring you the results that you are looking for. It does take a while, of course, and you have to be patient, but if you keep working, you will succeed. Once again, if you need some help, input, feedback, or motivation, you can contact me on Patreon. So make sure to like this video right now if you're motivated to practice. Leave a comment to share your personal practice routines or your biggest stepping stones at the moment. And also don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss the next video. I will hopefully see you very soon. All the best and have a lot of fun practicing until then.